Hey guys, my name's Ali and I'm a data analytics manager working in Oslo, Norway. Power BI has two types of experiences. One is the authoring and creating reports. You can check the link on top of the screen if you're interested in that. But in this video, we're going to focus on that other aspect, and that is how do you navigate reports that have been published for consumption in the Power BI online service. So what you guys are seeing now is a Power BI workspace, which is in the Power BI online service. Now, just for you to understand the workflow, you create a report in Power BI desktop, then you publish it to a workspace in the Power BI service. So you can see here I have a couple of different types of reports. I have exercise analysis, Olympic game analysis, and then some sales report stuff. These are all related to my Power BI data analyst portfolios. But notice that, notice the icons. You can see, there are different types, which will indicate, obviously under the type, report or data set, but you can also see it on the icons. Also in the Power BI service, you have something called apps, which is almost like a display window, while the workspace is where you can see the components that are part of a workspace. And usually, the administrator creates a workspace where you have the different elements, you have the reports, the data sets, and then you can choose what you want to promote to the app. So imagine that the workspace is where you can have different versions of the report, you can have different data sets, but the apps is the display window where the end users usually consume reports. But since I'm working in my personal workspace here, I will show you guys how to open a report from here. But it's good to know the difference between a workspace and an app. And I'll probably make a more extensive video on that later. But let's focus on, in this video, I really want to show you guys how to navigate in a report. So let's just go into, the sales report finished. Now you can see that we're going to come into the reports. You can see that you can see all the elements that I have chosen in Power BI desktop, and this is kind of the results after I published it out to the online service. On the left side, I can move between pages, and sometimes you have it on the left side, sometimes it's on the bottom. Depends what the developer has decided. But what you want to notice is, the developer can decide how do you kind of click your way through it, which elements are there, and which filters and slicers has he chosen to expose to you. But what is always, more or less always there, is the stuff that you see on the top. And it depends if you're in a workspace or a application, but you will find some of these things, some of these options on top will always be there. And one button that you definitely want to, or a couple that you definitely want to pay attention to, is the reset to default and the bookmarks. The bookmarks is very useful because you can create a bookmark with a selected selection that you want to come back to time after time. So right now I have 2020. I have March. I can select a category. Let's find one that has some data, bike rack. Then I can go in, add a personal bookmark, give it a name, 2020 March bike racks, save. And then of course you have a bookmark. So if I then, show you guys another feature, which is the reset to default, this will reset all your selections to the selection that the developer has last saved this file with, which is usually the default selection. So if you click reset to default, you can see it's going to remove the selections that I made. It looks like what the reports look like the first time you open it. And then when you go to bookmarks, 2020 March bike racks, you click that and you can see that now you have that same selection once again. So it's very useful if you want to make a selection, or you make a selection time after time, over and over again. So let's reset this one more time. The next thing that I think is very useful to know about when you are working in the online service is, notice when you put your mouse over an element, there's a small menu that shows up. And this menu will give you a couple of different options, so we can go through those. The first one is if you want to pin the visual to a dashboard and you have the right, or you have the possibility to do that. I don't use this that much, and it really depends on what kind of rights you have, what kind of security settings has the developer given you. But the next one, copy the visual as image, very useful if you want to copy this. If you move on, you can see the filters and slicers affecting this visual. So you can see it's customer, top 10 by sales, year is 2020. Notice if I choose May, that's going to change. Now it says customer, month short is May, year is 2020. It is showing you what filters are affecting this exact graph. If you want to put it into focus mode, you can expand the visualization. If there are details you can see when it is in the smaller when it is in the default kind of size. And also if you click these three buttons, you'll get more options. You can export data. There is a common function, don't use it that much. But you can export the data to Excel. You can show the data as a table below the graph. Also very useful if you want to see numerically what are the numbers that are behind the graph. There's also, if you want to change the sorting, you can do that. If you want to sort it by something else, you can do that. So if you want to sort it the other way, for whatever reason, you can do that. If you want to sort it by the customer name, alphabetically, you can do that. Once again, if you click reset to default, you get back where you were. So that's also a couple options that is good to know about in terms of navigation, but especially reset to default bookmarks and that menu is good to know. Otherwise, it's always good to know that you can click the different parts of a graph and you can see it filters other things down. So the graphs works together as different filters. If we move to one of the other pages, you can see we have tables, and actually depending on which element you select, there might be some different options when you right click it. But most of them, exporting data, sorting is usually what you will use quite a lot of those extra features. I think that's pretty much it, what I wanted to show you guys. There's no point over complicating it. You want to know what is those 20% that makes up most of your time, and it really is navigation. How do I export? What are some of those extra options? The reset to default button and the bookmarks. I hope you now know how to navigate reports in the Power BI service. This experience can be quite different depending on the developer of the report and how they create it, but it should still help you out quite a lot when you are working in different reports. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask those in the comments. And if you want to learn more about the functions of Power BI Desktop or how to design great Power BI reports, then check out some of the videos that you can see on the screen right about now.